everybody, welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host Anne, and Disembodied Hands Quindy, along with her servitors Justin and John. Hey, my motivation is missing too. I think all of us have just like, I don't know, maybe there's a motivation monster, like stealing things. But Kerniko sent me all of her extra rain. We had rain all night. Like, this does not happen in the South Bay. We have a flash flood warning here today. So it was very nice to wake up all during the night and hear the wonderful rain. Nap time. Let's just have nap time. Yay! I'm up for the nap time. And we still have more. Take it all. I think we'd be like underwater at that point. Oh dear. All right. Let's see here. I need some brown liner, and I actually have brown liner here now. And instead, after months of just like being too lazy to go and dig it out from the other room. Oh, I can sleep with the fishes. That's not good. That's not good, Kodiak. Come on. You want me sleeping with the fishes? Alrighty. Let us do some things. Let's shade some NMM copper. Let's do our shading. Where it's going to take down that orange, the level of orange a lot, so. Yes, and of course it was like a pain in the butt to deal with the puppy this morning, because puppy denied her morning playtime in the yard is pretty dingo. My mom drank instant coffee for ages. For years she did. There's really no excuse for it these days. But she did anyway. I'm going to get some russet brown and some brown liner. I'm probably going to mix a little bit of brown liner in with my russet. We'll see. Kiki, I think, is ambivalent about the rain. Like, she doesn't like it when it goes in her face, but she's not, like, scared of rain. Like, we are actually, I think, later today, I had to leave my phone in on the charger. And sorry for the lateness of the start, by the way, guys. My back has been, so I just had to do some extra stretches this morning. But the Keekster, the biggest problem we have is that we live on such a busy street, and she's really not comfortable with a lot of traffic going by, and in the morning it's very busy. So we have to slowly acclimate her to that. Otherwise, David would take her for a walk in the rain. He has no problem doing that. But, yeah, not really workable right now. We have to work her up to the traffic thing. She doesn't like big cars and trucks whizzing by, which is good because it means she's very unlikely to run into the road. But it does mean that she just doesn't want to be there when they're around. You missed the stretch breaks? Wow. Yeah. That's pretty ucky, Kerniko. But yeah, Kiki, otherwise I don't think she was like, really, Mom? When I took her out last night in the middle of rain, because I had woken up a couple times and prior to taking her out, and it was still raining, and I just decided it wasn't going to stop, so I took her out then. But she was just like, what's this? Why are we out in this? So I'm going to do 1 drop of brown liner in my russet brown. That's going to darken it down a bit, while still keeping kind of the character of it. And I'm going to thin it. I've got 5 drops of paint in there. I'm going to drop 2 drops of water. Russet has excellent coverage, but I do want it to be a little more fluid. We'll see how that works. We will try it out. I will still need an even darker brown, so I'm going to take 1 brush full of that and throw 4 drops of brown liner in. Oh yeah, November. That's why National Novel Writing Month is in November, y'all. To take advantage of the terrible weather. At least for the Northern Hemisphere. There we are. There. And then some water. Again, we're going to do 2. go. And we will work with these colors to take down our coppery color and tarnish it up. And then when we get to the verdigris step, we'll probably use some of the Surf Aqua along with the verdigris green. Oh, I think I need to crisp you up, Mr. Fish. Get you in focus. There we go. Oh, yeah, maybe we'll take a stretch break. We'll see how my back holds up. Just going to touch this up real quick. And I've got a little bit of area where I need to touch that up with the Nightmare Black, but that's all right. All right, let's get to this. Let's start with kind of the belt buckle and go from there. I still have no idea what this little thing is. I should. I mean, it's got a curly Q and it's got a wire and a bead and a wire. You'd think I'd be able to figure it out, but I have no idea what it is. Uh-oh, 22nd quarterly contest, says our bot. I'm going to go in here and kind of line around some of these details. Need to remind David that I want to go into the city. We have a Egyptian exhibition at the De Young. Want to go see the Egypt things. There we go. So when there's stuff I don't know what it is, I just try to kind of go in and define it a little bit, if I can. Like kind of look at the shapes, bring the shapes out a little bit more. Part of me keeps thinking I should know what this is, but I have no idea. Yeah, that's Texas. That's what Texas was. Texas would be like, hey, it's really nice out. Oh my God, it's freezing. And then the trees would all, like, all their leaves would just die. We wouldn't even get fall color because they just would die. It was sad. That's how I lost all my bonsai trees. All right. So now that I've lined around that, I'm going to come in here. I think I'm going to get my shading in, and then we'll take some lining in. But I wanted to get a bit of the detail kind of just lined around on this little thing. I'll try to figure out, still try to figure out, I mean, if you've got the piece, it's like that. It has curly cues with a bead and a wire, little notches at the end of those, and curly cues. Don't like to stay that zoomed in because it makes it really hard for me to keep in focus, in frame. It's not, I don't think it's a fish. It's got definite, like, repeating motifs on it that seem to be something else, but maybe not. I mean, maybe it's something I'm just missing. I'm painting it metal, so whatever. Yeah. Hello, Bob and Julie. Alrighty. So let's get our russet brown. It's 4-to-1 with brown liner. This is a great tarnished penny color. You can see it there. So this will be essentially a first shadow, though not a darkest shadow. I'll be bringing it in to areas that where water would pool. So this won't necessarily be a traditional NMM kind of treatment because it's all going to be tarnished. So you're not going to get the reflections except in areas where the tarnish is rubbed off. So we'll see. Whenever you do something covered with tarnish or verdigris, you're just not going to have the shine. So you aren't going to be painting it like traditional NMM. You might paint it like traditional NMM on a few areas that are rubbed off, like maybe the snout and the tusks. But first I'm going to make a pass, and anywhere where water would sit inside of an area and pool, when he's out in the air, I am going to paint brown. And I'm going to kind of look at it and figure out where I'm going to keep. Hey GVD, thanks for the resub. 30 months. These are weebies. These are all weebies. I could ask Jason. I just always forget. It's like not that important to me. Gonna blacken the eyes. I don't think it's a fish. It's got curlicues at both ends. It looks like it's ornamental, but I have no idea. It definitely does not say fish to me. But this might be a fishy in a cage. Although if he's out in the air, he better have a magical force field keeping the water in it. A weapon in a scabbard. Yeah, I guess it could be a knife. A little like a fish, like a skinning or descaling knife, maybe. But that doesn't, I don't know. I mean, yeah, no idea. No idea. It's possible that it got deformed a bit in the cast too, so. Well, this is a fancy bottle over here. Obviously nobody knows what it is. I guess that's what I'm getting from this. Nobody knows. Yeah, it could be. I could see it being a knife in a scabbard. I could see painting it that way. So really the only parts of this model that are going to be like it all shiny are going to be the parts that are really sticking out. Parts that may have been polished off. Oh, I hear the rain starting again. If it gets really strong, then we'll hear it on the roof during the stream. I wonder if you guys will be able to hear it. Oh, a handrail? Yeah, that's possible. That sounds like something Jason would do, too. All right. Little piggy head. So we've done shading and brought out. Brought out our details. Then we're going to go in, and I'm going to kind of proof of concept this. So we'll do all the steps on little boarhead here, and then we'll figure out if we like the look, and if we do, then we'll keep going. And if something's off, or I think that I need to keep it more of a new copper look, then we'll work on that. A little bit of a shadow down between the eyes. All right, now I want my tarnished copper and my new copper. Yeah, I mean, the hand reel thing. I could see it being maybe a bobbin. Maybe it is a kind of bobbin with a dangly thing. I have no idea. It's been a long time since I fished. Not since I was a kid. I really liked fishing when I was a kid. It's not a candy bar. It can't be a whatchamacallit. It can be a thingamajig or a thingamabobber. Is that even still a candy bar? Like, there are some, have you guys ever noticed there are some candy bars like you only ever seem to see at Halloween in a variety pack? The whatchamacallit seems to be one of those. And so is the 100 grand bar. Like, David's like, what even is that? Because we got a big bag of candy from Costco, and it had like 10 different kinds of candy in it. And one of them was the 100 grand bar. Which you'd never ever see in stores otherwise. Ever. I'm going to do a 50-50 mix of new copper and tarnished. Still exists. Oh, you live near Hershey. I had a friend who used to live in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, near the Hershey factory there. And I just remember being at her place where the wind was going in the right direction, and you would just smell chocolate. It was like living in a place where you smelled chocolate all the time. Yeah, I don't know, Pendrake. I don't really care what it is or its use. I just care, like, how to paint it. But I think I'm just going to paint it copper and make this little bobbin thing bright. Maybe bright blue. We'll see. Alrighty, so... here I am going to start paying attention to where the light would fall. Marathon bar. God, I haven't thought of that for a long time. Well, I had a bunch of 100 gram bars, Agent Marvel. If I would have known, I could have sent them to you. David thought they were some alien life form. He had never seen one. All right, a little bit of under reflection here. Now, when you get down to areas that are probably pretty, and even here, you can see where I'm using a stippling stroke. Because I want this to kind of be irregular. Because where would probably be somewhat irregular. Now, this is a half and half tarnished and new copper. It's a good color to start with. If you go straight to new copper, as with many triads, if you go straight from the midtone to the highlight, it's just too much. And I may go over some of this. I probably will go over some of this with verdigris, but I'm going to get all my like highlight stuff in first. My tastes must align with much of the populace because of the candy bars I liked most when I was a kid are still around. Although these days I like much higher quality chocolate. Well, compared to like German and Dutch chocolate and Swiss chocolate, they're right. The Hershey chocolate is just bad compared to like really, really high quality chocolate. But it's also cheap, so you know. Like, I agree with them, but every once in a while I do eat like a Snickers bar or a Reese's peanut butter cup. More often, though, I find myself reaching for much higher quality chocolate and just not eating as much of it. And get his little eyebrows here. Yeah, they just like use like crappy product and then like put a ton of sugar in it to make it taste good. Is that it? This would not surprise me. I made David take most of our leftover Halloween candy to work. So, mostly getting the areas that are sticking out. I'm not paying attention really to like highlights, shadows, or under reflections. Chocolate Love is great, but I like their filled ones actually. The almond butter filled and the salted caramel filled. Those are my favorites. We have those in our cabinet as we speak. All right, now I'm going to get more of this copper, taking it all the way up. Yeah, we get Chocolate Love, we get Alter Eco, we get Theo, we get, you know, all those high quality. We do the Ritter marzipan bars too. Those are awesome. But only the marzipan. Like, neither of us like their other candy bars, but the marzipan filled ones are amazing. All right, and we got our copper. I'm going to get pure white going on here. Yeah, I like the almond and sea salt too. Yeah, I love marzipan. Adore it. David and I both love it. We have a local grocery store that carries that particular candy bar now, so I'm like, oh no. Yeah, I like, when I was doing keto, Dogfather, I like the Alter Eco Blackout and the Mint Blackout. Those are super high percentage dark, like 80%, 85%, I think. That's about as dark as I can take it and really, really enjoy it. I've tried the super blackout, but it's just like, it's so bitter that I don't, at that point, my likes and dislikes kick in and I'm like, eh. I think I want to warm up that copper just a little bit. That is one thing you can do. The orangey pink is really like, if you look at a penny that hasn't tarnished at all, it's that color. But sometimes, if you're doing a highlight, you might want to warm it up. Especially I've got this warmer white color on his belly. So I think I'll grab my Assyrian sand and put a drop of it, especially because these two colors are actually pretty similar. I'm going to put a drop of Assyrian sand into my new copper to warm it up just a little. Interesting, Agent Marvel. I'm going to put maybe 2 drops in there. And 1 drop water. And we'll stir that up with our mixing brush. That'll take it a little lighter and a little warmer. And now will be a better bridge between that color and that. Yeah, dark chocolate is my favorite. I really am not a fan of milk chocolate. Like the only time I ever have milk chocolate now is for Easter. I will have a cream egg because I have loved cream eggs since forever, Cadbury's. And I will devour a cream egg every Easter without fail. I have to fight the urge to devour more than one. Yeah. Yeah, the Ritter marzipan. It's a red wrapper. I look for it whenever I see their candy bars. Actually, I have to go to that grocery store today to get salmon for dinner, and that's where they have those candy bars. So I'm probably going to pick up more marzipan bars. Oh, I love Cadbury cream eggs. God, Quindy, you and I, yay, fist bump. Oh my God, I love them. I've loved them since I was a child. They're such a comfort food pick for me. Such a comfort food pick. Wow, the Swiss people declared coffee to be non-essential? Like, that would be insane. Like, if you did that in America, there would be riots. The caramel Cadbury, yeah. Yeah, the Cadbury mini eggs, yep. The filling in cream eggs is too sweet, but my little kid in me still loves that. And so, like I said, I can eat 1 a year. 1 a year. More than 1 would be too much. So a little bit too much highlight there. The nice thing about the copper, though, is, and I do mention this, I think, and I did a PDF on how to use this triad. I think it's a $10 level. I did it earlier this year. There are lots of glazing techniques that you can use to really get a more realistic copper out of it. Using it simply, you can get copper. But doing like mixes and glazing and verdigris, you can get a very realistic copper. So it's all in how much futzing you want to do with your copper to make it feel right. Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely cream egg sugar bomb. But since I'm no longer at risk for diabetes since I lost the weight, I'm like, once a year I can do cream egg. Oh dear. But yes, I hear you. I hear you. I know. It doesn't stop the inner Anne child from like going cream egg every time. My mother even was sending me a package of them every year for a while because she knew. All right, so I'm actually gonna do this. I'm gonna do a glaze over because when your highlights go up too high, you can do a little bit of a glaze of your copper to take it down. So I'm mixing up that glaze puddle on the right. Unfortunately, a little bit too much of my copper squeezed out, so I've got a very, very hefty glaze puddle. Oh, speaking of salmon, have you guys tried air fryer salmon? Because if not, you should. It really does cook it perfectly. Like I never know what to believe with my air fryer, and so I'm very cautious about testing things in it. But I was like honestly astonished at how good air fryer salmon was. It cooks it perfectly and it gives it that crisp exterior. So if you have an air fryer and you have not tried to cook salmon in it, think again. Because I'm doing that tonight. I have to think about what I'm going to do though. I can do a honey balsamic one or a... normally I do a chipotle, but yeah, I'm thinking about trying a different recipe tonight. So the glaze over those eyeballs. Honestly, you just have to like salt and pepper and a little bit of olive oil. Like I normally do a little bit of olive oil in the basket. You don't even really have to do it on the salmon. But if you're putting a sauce or a rub on it, obviously you're doing that. But be careful how much rub you put on it, and don't do too much sugar in the rub, and do it thick. That's a mistake I made last time. My chipotle rub does have brown sugar in it, and I put it on a bit thick because we both love it. But in the air fryer, that's just going to burn just a little bit. So, because it's, it's convection. So now I would put it on much thinner, and if I do it, I'm more likely to do a glaze on the salmon than a rub, I think, if I want to do something sweet. You just ordered an air fryer. Awesome. Yeah, we use ours a lot, Pendrake. It's really good for vegetables. Like, it does amazing Brussels sprouts. We've used it for asparagus. We mostly use it for, like, Brussels sprouts, and when I do, like, it makes doing roasted vegetables, because I like to do, like, roasted parsnip, carrots, potatoes, a blend like that for when I do roasted bird. And, because, you put them in the pan, but they always get too goopy, because it's just too much and too long. So I do roasted vegetables in the air fryer. It really makes them crisp up nicely. If anything, they're a little too crisp, and I find I do need to do like a butter sauce or something often with them, or some sort of sauce to moisten them up again. Nice. Yeah, 6 quarts sounds like a big one. Button presets are great, Pendrake, but I find as somebody who likes to cook, I tend to I don't use the presets, and I tend to just set the temperature and the time. There's a really good air fryer cookbook out there by America's Test Kitchen with a lot of different recipes that I need to start getting and working my way through them, because this is how I did the salmon, and I was like, this works out. Glazing fish and dry brushing fish. Nope, shouldn't be a problem at all. Yeah, we tend to like our salmon sweeter. Like, David's favorite prior to this chipotle rub was teriyaki salmon, which I enjoy as well, which is something I made a lot. But then I tried the chipotle rub, which is chipotle, brown sugar, salt, and pepper. I think is really simple. And it's really good. All right, so now I'm going to start paying attention to light sourcing. So taking the light down just in that straight line there and there. Going to hit the top of the snout here. But that's all very likely to get rubbed off. So it's good places for that. Yeah, I don't watch America's Test Kitchen, but I like their cookbooks. Except that I wish sometimes that their binding wasn't so cheap. Their books tend to fall apart, I have noticed. So a little bit of highlight at the bottom of the nostrils. Tiny bit of highlight on the tip of the tongue. A little bit of reflection. A little bit of highlight here. A highlight there. And a little bit at the bottom of the mouth there. Doing most of my highlight with the new copper, but I will bring in a little bit of pure white. And then we're going to go in, we're going to start throwing some verdigris here and there. Yeah, honey chipotle is another one I think I've got a recipe for, but I want to try something a little different tonight. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to look at my book and see what I have. I also just recently, finally, got a subscription to the New York Times cooking section, which is so popular that they have a separate subscription for it. You can just subscribe to New York Times cooking. But over the years, I've sourced so many good recipes from there. They really do have an excellent cooking section. So I figured it was worth it, and I'd try it for a year, and I'd cancel if I didn't like it. A little bit of white. But I forget what it was. I was making something new, and New York Times had a recipe that I really liked. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to subscribe. All right, now, where do I want my verdigris? Yeah, and I don't usually use bourbon in cooking. Weirdly. I do like using like beer and wine in cooking, but David's bourbon is pretty top shelf and very much for drinking, so I wouldn't want to steal his bourbon for cooking. His wine, I have no compunctions whatsoever. So we've got a good, decent shine look going on our boar head, but now we need some verdigris, and we can use ancient oak for that. I used to love to use peacock green for it. Peacock's a little bit more vibrant than ancient oak. So you can use ancient oak, though. It's a good copper verdigris green. Working it up to, we're going to be using verdigris, copper verdigris. And we'll also use a little bit of our Surf Aqua, which we did use there. But if you look, you see that the Surf Aqua plus the Creamy Ivory that we were using there is very close to this copper verdigris color. So in reality, I probably don't need to use the actual Surf Aqua. Mostly I wanted to use a similar color to what I see on the belly here, and in looking at these two, they are actually very similar. So I wanted to repeat the colors that I was working with. But yeah, so it's salmon night. It's salmon night, probably with some asparagus or maybe salad. Don't know. It's getting to be that wintry type of year where dark, like sulfurous greens are good. Probably I need to buy some Brussels sprouts. But since I'm using the air fryer for the salmon, I won't have air fryer space for the Brussels sprouts. Yeah, but I don't cook with it. I don't know. I follow the Alton Brown rule, though. Like, it still has to be drinkable. Like, he's like, don't use anything to cook with that you wouldn't just drink. And I kind of agree with him. All right, we're going to use ancient oak for our verdigris then. Although, we are using a pretty saturated color here, so maybe I will pop this up with maybe I need to use a more vibrant green. So one thing I could do is try to mix a verdigris color with the colors that I was already working with. Maybe. So I'm going to put these back. Put all these greens back. That's an idea. And let's play with that. Let's see here. We've got... I need to find my rich indigo. There we go. Rich indigo Surf Aqua. And I'm going to put away the ancient oak. And instead I'm going to try to create a verdigris from this blue color plus some yellowy colors. Yeah, I kind of agree with them. It's like if you wouldn't drink it, then don't use it to cook with. All right, so let's make some blue. We're going to make some blue by... I have to reset my camera after this. There we go. So 2 drops of the indigo, 2 drops of Surf Aqua, maybe 3. Yeah, tri-tip's been all over the grocery stores these days, but I know how persnickety they can be to cook. And so I have, because I don't have a means to smoke it, because we don't have a smoker. So I have evaded the tri-tips. That and it was never my favorite meat. All right, so let's get this going. Got our blue. Now I want to see what happens if I add like a lemon yellow to it. Or yellow mold. Yellow mold could be good. Do I want lemon yellow or yellow mold? I want lemon yellow. Yellow, of the two, lemon yellow is the more yellow you can see. Although you could use yellow mold. I'm going to drop 1 drop of lemon in that. Let's see what I get. But you know what? In that case, Agent Marble, I'd much rather have a prime rib roast. So, yeah, this is going to be a weird one. It's going to mute out pretty intensely. I'm just doing color experiments at this point, guys. I'm just like, can I actually create a green that will work for the darker part of the vertigreen for mixing color into the blue that I started with? Maybe. But see, now the reason this has gone so muted is that we are taking purple and mixing it with yellow. So it doesn't give us a very bright green at all, which does not work so well with Mr. Fishy, because he's pretty brilliant. Oh, yeah, I kept my engagement ring for the, as my wedding ring. I like my pretty ring too much. I like my engagement ring too much, and I didn't see the point of spending more money on another second ring. But it's no more muted than the Ancient Oak, so I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. I can always go back and go Brilliant Green if I really want to. And I've got my Vertigreen, as I call it. Its actual name is Copper Vertigreen, but I call it Vertigreen. Also called toothpaste. Possibly because it's really lean, as I recall. Isn't it a really lean meat, Dogfather? Which is why it's tricky to cook. I'm going to mix this into this. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting green, but I don't think I want to use it. Although, you know what? It does go with that copper, though. It goes pretty well with that copper. But yeah, I mean, most red meat, you're really, looking at good cuts being very fatty and marbly, so. But tri-tip, as I recall, is leaner. So if you can also eat like tenderloin without it ripping you up, then that would be kind of a signal that it might be the fat content. Who knows? Interesting thought. I see. Yeah, it has a fat cap. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I'll try to do it someday. I don't know. We've got more than enough red meat choices that I like to make, so these days I'm actually looking for more fish ideas that I can make more often. Let's see here. I want to thin this down. I want to transfer it over. I'm going to grab some of this weird green that I mixed and play with it a little. But I do feel like I do need a darker green as well. So what do we got? Yeah, I'm going to use pine green. It's a really vibrant green, 9010. It's one of my favorite greens. Oh, Fisher probably eats fish too. He's a big fish, therefore he eats smaller fish. He understands. Oh no, need to shake up better. So when you squeeze out stuff and you see that, do not just add more paint to it. Do not. Please do not. Just grab a tissue and get it out of there. This applies if you're on a wet palette as well. Yeah. I mean, I've had a friend who was like that, Bryce, who just did not like the fish smell in the house, and I don't mind it. It's probably a little more annoying in the winter where you can't open up the windows as much. There we go. All right. Pine green. Now, just messing around at this point, really. Messing around. Let's take some of this green and mix it into the pine. Okay, I like that. Messing around. And that green looks good with my copper. I can tell already that it looks good with my copper, so I'm just going to go with it. See, I tend to cook out of just preference. I like fattier cuts of meat, so I tend to stick to those. And they don't take a lot of babying. I'm definitely err on the side of less work rather than more work. I understand the like lavishing time on food, and on occasion I'd still do that, but lately I've just been like, I'd like to put my time into other things. Every once in a while on the weekend I'll get in the mood to really, so we're going to add some green in here, to really spend a lot of time babying food. But yeah, some of you people take meat manipulation to an art form. Like, I would never inject meat. That's beyond my comfort level of cooking, but I admire people who are diligent in getting the best out of their meat. It's just not me. So adding in a fair amount of green on the undersides here. And again, I'm stippling it. I'm making it irregular. It doesn't grow like regularly. It tends to spread in irregular patches. And you want to do your dark green first. Yeah, no problem, Bryce. I always like to repeat colors I've already used on the model, and so if I can take a mix and create a different color from it that's close to what I need, I will. And I probably will use this odd green that I mixed as like the step up from this dark green from the pine green. And then I'll use the verdigris. We'll see though. I don't know. I don't have a lot of room on this. I'll have a lot more room on this big old trident to do funky color stuff. So yep, thanks Sturgeon. Salmon stream. Is that what we did? We talked about chocolate too. I just happen to love salmon. There, so a little bit of green on the top as well. Again, in irregular patches. I don't want it to be everywhere or symmetrical. It wouldn't be. It's a-okay to put some color on one side and not another side. I'm actually going to put some inside the nose here. All right, so now once you've got your dark greens kind of painted in, put a little bit more down here. Now you bring them up with your middle greens, and now you have to stipple smaller. So I'm going to grab my green that I made. And you want to kind of put the lighter green right next to the dark green or over the top of the dark green. You still want to keep a little bit of your dark green though. so irregularly adding it in. I'm going to go straight up to the verdigris. And you could really crust it if you wanted. If you wanted to really crust an area, you could do it all like a thick layer of green. And then introduce all your verdigris to make the streaks. The streaking effect that tends to happen. And fluid tends to run down vertically, so often you'll see trails or stripes, kind of stippled stripes or irregular streaking, streaks of color. When in doubt, put your lightest built up verdigris color where the water would pull the strongest. If you feel like you've gone a little bit too green, too verdigris, reach for your brown again. Brown and dark green. If you look at the different stages of copper oxidation, you'll definitely see it goes brown, then it goes dark greenish, and then it starts to bloom with lighter patches of verdigris. But I think there's enough verdigris there for it definitely to show. There's enough copper for it to still look copper. I'm pretty happy with that level of verdigris. It looks shiny. And it doesn't clash with the colors I've got. The orange is no longer as so overwhelming if you compare the two. Adding in the highlights, the shadows, and the verdigris has definitely made this a different beast than this, right? So it makes a big difference. So even though this looks really orange and really flat right now, once you get everything else in there, it'll start to look really pretty. It is a lot of steps, and if you do find still that it's looking a little bit too pink, I mentioned this in the PDF, but you can glaze with orangey yellows or yellow oranges. I have some specific recommendations in the PDF, but really you just want to warm it up, orange it up a little bit, take it away from pink if you want it. Yeah, that's the spot highlights. So we'll see how all this works. You should do the mystery thing. Let's do the mystery thing. Okay, I want more brown on the mystery thing though. There's all my stuff. I'm working on my Black Armor PDF for the $2 tier. It'll be a nice little short kind of summary of what I was doing on the vampire on stream. I'm going to repaint a couple areas. I'm going to talk a little bit about metallics, using black metallics instead, which is pretty much very similar. And that should be out in the next couple days. And then for my $5 tier on the Patreon this month, I'm doing silver metallics. I ordered a bunch of them and ran them through their paces. I'm going to do kind of a write-up on kind of the two different types, three different types actually, I would say, of metallic flakes out there for silver right now, and what they're like, what they're good for. So that's for, I don't think I've ever done metallics for a color workshop before, so it'll be a nice change. Yeah, I kind of wish this cage I could make a different metal, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense to do it. I mean, I could go black. I mean, I wanted to kind of do iron with it, but I didn't think it would look that great if I did, because then you lose the detail of the cutouts here unless you make it glowing, and I just didn't feel like it would, like that was a thing for this model for me. Been trying to work more painting time into my evenings lately. Trying to get a lot of other stuff done during the day so that I have more time at night to sit and paint. Shadow Spawn, thank you. 38 months, nice. Thanks. Impressive. Yeah, I mean, water things, I think copper the most often, but like I said, little corgi guy here was also a interesting experiment with it. Jessica Rich did the copper NMM triad on an otter, I think an otter cleric for Dark Sword. So any water creature. It makes it works for water creatures because it tends to be the complementary color that the water creature would be painted in, right? Because most water creatures are blue or blue-green, and the complementary color to that is red-orange, which is really what copper is. So that's why it tends to be a nice choice for watery type critters for their metals. Then you can do the verdigris, so it's always fun. Yeah, it has been a hot minute, hasn't it? Hopefully the rain will stay away while I get Kiki a walk. Since it looks like today's going to be a rainy day. I mean, I'm really happy because we're in serious drought, and rain is nice to have. I'll have to check my phone and see what the weather looks like. See if there's a space where I can walk the Keeks. Keekster has a puppy obedience class, her first puppy obedience class on Sunday, and I'm just kind of going to try it out and see how she does. I tend to think such things are good for proofing more than learning, because the other dogs are such distractions. But she knows most of her basic obedience, in theory anyway. So we shall see how she does. Technically I bought a package for this place, but I don't know that I'm going to stick with them. I know enough about dog training that I don't really need them to teach me how to train my dog. So if we don't have fun or it's frustrating, because Kiki's brain cells are just not, you know, she's a large breed and they take a little longer to mature, physically and mentally. So I don't have, like, I have very realistic expectations heading into this class with Kiki. And if she does better than expected, then I'll be happy. Meanwhile, it gets us out of the house and gets us more experience being around other dogs, which is great. She's very good, though. When we see dogs walking on the street, she's just like, oh, it's a dog. which is exactly what I wanted. That's exactly why we did all those puppy play date classes, puppy preschool. I'd like to get her Canine Good Citizen, but I think that might be a work in progress, depending on how her brain cells progress. Sparklies. She's not going to be one of those Shilohs that gets their Canine Good Citizen at 6 months, I'll tell you that. Too much energy. Also, Kiki's great-great-grandma just passed away yesterday. And I'm not sad because, you know, she had a very long life, and it's actually wonderful that she lived as long as she did. Her name was Junebug, and she was the first puppy. She was a puppy in the first litter evaluation I ever did. She passed away at 13 and a half years, which for Shiloh's is an excellent outcome. 13 and a half. 90-pound, you know, shepherd, really good. Really, really good. And she got lots of scruffles, and she had a fantastic life. So, yeah, not going to be sad about Grandma Junebug. And pretty much passed from old age. Didn't have cancer or anything, just, you know, passed away one day. But yeah, Junebug is a sweetie. So that's good. I like to hear about that good of health. And there we go. So that's, if you don't do the verdigris and the tarnish, then you end up with a very new copper look, and that's this, very shiny, right? So what I would need to do then is to bring in more brown and some green on this to really bring it up. Yeah, I wonder if I have a picture of Junebug. Oh, my phone is not. Sorry, I had to put my phone on the charger. It was out of juice this morning, so no puppy pictures today, sadly. Maybe I'll dig one up of Junebug tomorrow if I can find one. Used to show with her mom, Deb. Used to go to dog shows with them all the time. So Kiri was always showing against BJ and Junebug. They were sisters. So yeah, so that's kind of the difference there. As you can see, this looks more tarnished. I've left more of the tarnished copper, the orange, right? I've left more of that around. And here I've covered up a lot of it with that more pinky, you know, new copper mixture. So new copper mixed with tarnished copper gives you a different sort of mid-tone. And then I went up to white. So that's a very shiny copper there. And I don't know, it's probably a little cord or maybe a chain, so maybe I want to do copper on that little top of the tassel. I'm going to just grab just a little bit of the copper, full strength, and just dab it on there. But yeah, so Junebug was great-grandma to Zammy, who is Kiki's mom. So you can see the difference in the color, right? With that, with all of this, you can see how pinky orange it went, but that's that new copper look that you get. I'm going to dab this on here and kind of put a little bobble on the top of that tassel. I'll let it dry. Now that I've decided what I want to do, then I want to do a little bit of a thing on top of the tassel. If I did want to do a little bit of verdigris on this, I would take my brown, probably put it down in here. And I would take in some green. But this is, having so many little doodads on this and little details, it's not as good candidate for verdigris. So really, the places you want to do verdigris on copper are when you have a lot of room all on the breastplate and stuff, right? So I could have gone a lot greener with this. But this is where you can really get detailed about where you're putting your copper, right? You can do little streaks against the areas that are going to catch water, like over here, because you've got all this nice room to work with. Whereas on this tiny little bauble, even though it's as far as size goes, it's as tall as that corgi breastplate, but it has all these tiny details on it. So it's a lot harder to do verdigris on it because you're just not going to bring out, like you have to bring out all the details, and then you're going to try to do verdigris, but you don't have any room to do it. So I'm going to do just a little bit down here, just a bit, and then maybe I'll do a little bit up top, just to keep it in line with, you know, color-wise, the boar's head. But yeah, I've really gotten to the point, I think, with Kiri's passing where, sure, I'm sad when a dog goes, like, but I realize, like, I don't know, I just enjoy more every day more with my dogs. Like, it's just like, they're with you for such a short period of time, relatively speaking, right? It's a long period of time, too, if you're lucky. If you think about the course of your life, you're only going to have so many dogs, right? But I don't know. I'm more at peace with the passing of animals, both animals that I know and animals that are mine. As long as it's, all I ask is that they not be in pain, right? So we give them such good lives with lots of love and tasty treats. Yes, get to have dogs, exactly. I only have one right now. And if she passes all her breeding testing, then maybe we'll keep one of her daughters. That's always been kind of the plan. I really enjoyed doing that with Kiri's litter, keeping Blazy. It was really cool to keep a pup that, you know, I'd raised. And Blazy was honestly the most perfect. She was the most perfect dog. Kiki has a lot to live up to. So here, putting verdigris up next to the fish belly is kind of an issue because, as you can see, their colors are very similar. So they kind of blend into each other, and it almost might look as if it's a mistake. So if you see that, then maybe pull back and decide not to do that after all. You can still paint over it. And you want the contrast more than you want to put more verdigris on the little tiny thingamabobbin. So we'll just do that. Bring our tarnish back on. It's always hard, but yeah. I just smile every time I see Kiki curling up and snuggling with one of Kiri's beds. There we go. Yeah, it's not mine. It was actually I'm a volunteer with our breed club, and so I know all the breeders, and so I know Kiki's. I know the breeder of Kiki's. It was Kiki's great grandma. So I've known her since she was a tiny puppy. I did her litter evaluation. It was Deb's loss more than mine, but still, you know, it's a dog that you knew, like, that I've known for years and years and years. Oh, nice. You just sculpted funeral urns, huh? See, that's my, yeah, that's cool. I tend to do, I do 2D art as well, so I tend to wait until I'm able to do it, and then I do a pet portrait. That's my kind of grieving. Oh, no pets to hug, Pendrake. Oh, 16 plus. Yeah, well, cats can hit 20, though. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, it's hard when they go young. I'll give you that, Dogfather. Like, Kiri, I was at peace. I was able to reach peace with Kiri because she almost hit 13. She had a very long and beloved life, and she lived through a lot with me. So that's why I actually work so hard with this dog breeding org, guys, is because, like, more than anything, you know, I let other people worry about breed type and, like, you know, temperament and all that. It's all important, but I'm the person who wants to see our breed longevity get longer. You know, I want to see our dogs live healthy, older lives. So that is what... Wow, that is super gross, Bryce. That's terrible. So really, he's just saying, I just want to breed and make some puppies and then foist them off on other people for money. Yeah, that's BS. That person gives dog breeders the bad name that should, like, people are always trying to foist off on us. And you contrast that to somebody like me, who is like, I, you know, do a lot of research and tracking and like health research to try to help our breed have longer lives. Totally different aims and goals. Yeah, Kana. It happens. I mean, even with the best breeders, it happens. Like, I do my best to... And I have a lot of data. Like, I talk to every one of our breeders in our organization, and I write down everything, and I've got spreadsheets and mathematical formulas, and you name it. I've got stuff to track, like, the risk incidence of any given commonly seen genetic disorder in our litters. But it's still genetics, and it's throw the dice. Most of these things we don't have DNA tests for, so... Even though you haven't seen it in 5 generations, there's still that % chance that you roll the 1 on the D20 and you see it in a litter. No matter how good of a breeder you are. And then, of course, if you don't have if you've got just a, you know, random kitty, then nobody knows, right? I lost my kitty panther, or we lost my kitty panther. I had to rehome him when I got a divorce, but Katie, who took him, but we lost him around, I think, age 10. Because of cancer, bone cancer. Too many cats, yeah. Yeah, definitely, yeah, our breeders take responsibility. Like, if most of us have contracts that, for me, I always just refunded everything and helped with medical care as appropriate. I was very lucky in that most of my pups were, most of my pups are still around. I bred in 2011 and 2012. So they're 10 and 11 years old now. We're getting up there, and we've lost one. I'm just happy when, I mean, our dogs, they're big dogs, right? The average Shiloh Shepherd age, length of life is 10 to 12 years. So once we hit 10, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm much happier with 12. What I really hate is when we lose them early. Yeah, like when you lose them at 8 because of some weird cancer or crazy stuff, right? That's the hard part, really. Alrighty. So we've got these two nice coppery things really going on. I'm really liking this. There's some doodads and shiny things on the belt here. I might do these in silver instead. I'm not sure. Maybe just to give it something different. Alrighty. Yeah, and it's a hard one. Like, kidney cancer is just like human cancer. It's really difficult to predict, and some have genetic components, but a lot of the times it's also environmental components, and they just don't understand how much of an impact it is, right? Like, they've got those studies where with identical twins, one of them got cancer, the other didn't. What's the difference, right? So they know there's environmental and epigenetic components to cancer, and it just makes it so hard. Yeah. Birth defects. And birth defects happen. It's another sad thing that just saw a puppy pass from a birth defect on one of our breeders, and she was just all ripped up, and she's just like, was it my fault? Was it my fault? I feel like it's my fault. And it's like, it's a birth defect. Like, nothing you could do as a breeder can stop that. Like, it's a random roll of the dice. It's hard, though. We care so much. Wow. Wow. That's a high incidence, green users. Wow. That's sobering. Kiri had cancer, but we spotted it and got her treated, and she lived an extra almost 4 years. So totally worth it. That's why I carry pet insurance on my animals now. Like, I would not be caught dead without pet insurance. If Kiri would have gotten diagnosed and I was in the situation I am now with a much lower income, I would have had to put her down when she was diagnosed. I never want to be in that situation. So I carry pet insurance on my... The Keekster has pet insurance. Do a little bit of shiny here. So, okay. So, and I did a PDF on this too. So if you're in my $10 level of the Patreon, you have PDFs on these things. So NMM shapes. I did a shapes series for non-metallic metal. And of course, all this can also apply to shaded metallics. But a bracelet is a ring, a cylinder. And so you highlight it like a cylinder. And it's going to highlight differently depending on if it's horizontal to the light source or it's vertical to the light source. But in general, when it comes down to here and starts to kind of go vertical to, or horizontal to your eyes, that's where it's going to kind of act like a tiny mirror and reflect light at you. And that's what that highlight is. That highest highlight is on the side of these bracelets. And it's why it makes it look so much like metal, is it's creating the illusion that it's reflecting at your eyes. Yeah, it comes down to none of us can know the future, and we should, you know, live as best we can. The fullest life we can, not knowing what the future will be. There we go. So now we got a bit of an under reflection here. Yeah, we early voted. We sent in our ballots a week or so ago, I think. We do mail ballots here in this state, and I actually really like it. Like, I never felt like I was as informed as about, you know, about candidates since I moved here. Yeah, it's nice when you can catch it early. I mean, it pays to be a paranoid pet owner, but of course, sometimes you just don't catch, right? There's not possible. Yeah. Anyway, this is a sad topic, so I'm gonna stop our sad topic. And hey, it's almost time to end the stream anyway. So here I'm just pretty much bringing in my highlights on this side. I want to blend them a little better. I want them more like this. So I'm going to grab some of my copper. Yeah, here it's all vote by mail. You can opt into voting by mail, and they'll send you your ballot, and they'll send you the like all of the stump speeches for the candidates, so you can actually you know, read up on what they say about themselves and do a little research. And they also send you the propositions. They present you with arguments for and against, so you can read through that. And yeah, I mean, I wish I never had any of this stuff when I lived in Wisconsin or Texas. They just left you to do your own research and be gone. So I really like that living here, it enables me to make a better choice, I think. I hear you. There's the Kiki bark. She's like, hey, it's walk time. It's walk time. Where's my walk? Kiker's like, you know, it's not raining right now. We could go for a walk, Mom. There's Shiny. Yeah, I know, crazy, right, Connor? It is. I mean, people diss California for many reasons, but I have to say that the voting system here is pretty good. Pretty good. Like, they give you the information. Whether you choose to make time to read it is up to you, but they at least make it very easy and accessible. And everybody can opt in to vote by mail, so they don't have to wait in line. Uh-oh. I spoke too soon. The rain just started. No. I need to take a feisty puppy out, and I need to run some energy out of her. There we go. Yeah, in Texas it was pretty good. There were tons of polling stations. Maybe the bark was, wait, it's raining. Yeah, I'm still going to try to take her for a walk. I'll put on my raincoat and my waterproof shoes. I'm going to do a little bit of a highlight on the top here. Areas that face up should always be lighter. But you can also have gradations of that when you're doing a round item. There it is. Don't worry, Keekster, I'm coming. There we go. Now we've got shiny and shiny and coppery. We've got lots of copper. And it looks like copper. So anybody who ever, like, if you ever doubted that the NMM Copper Triad works, it works. Look, it works. Yeah, you sent it all. You sent it all to me, Kareniko. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not complaining. I love the sound of rain on the roof. So yeah, we've got some good copper stuff going on now. So imagine how when you totally bling him out, you do all the copper on his vest and on here. I am rethinking these shoulder pads. We'll see. I don't know if they should be metal. Although I can do a lot of awesome verdigris stuff because they're so smooth, so maybe I'll keep them metal. Right, yeah. Yeah, absentee ballots, but you have to request them, right? Whereas here, I just get it. It just shows up in the mail. I'm like, oh, how convenient. But yeah, you can always request absentee. That's true. Then you don't have to wait in line. All right, guys. Well, now that the rain is pouring down and I've got a squeaky little puppy in the other room who has too much energy, I will take off and leave you all to it. I mentioned I might have a different model tomorrow. I really need to pick out new minis. I need to put it on my to-dos. If I don't find time today, I'll probably actually switch to just doing Kide with the next, we'll just work on Kide's base. Because I want to get Kide done now that Halloween is done. So we might do that, Quindy. Oh, Crow's Nest might be on tonight? Maybe? Maybe? Alrighty. Well, thank you all for hanging around for a discussion of chocolate, salmon, and puppies. And I hope you all have a lovely day. In my case, a lovely rainy day. I hear it. Can you guys hear it? It's pretty loud right now, but the mic might not pick it up. Yeah, you can. I love our roof. The foam roof with the wood under it. It's just you hear the raindrops. I just love it. I used to love it at Reaper too when we had the tin roof over the paint department, and you could just hear every drop. I just love it. All right, guys. I hope you all have a lovely, lovely Tuesday. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. All right? Bye-bye.